Greetings and welcome to an Equity Guru Investor Roundtable. In this case, kind of a around the world table. We've got 3 countries represented. I'm sitting in the United States right now, 2 gentlemen in Canada, and of course our friend Fabi is in Portugal. And actually, doesn't change things though. Gaalen's still in the basement with me. Fabi's in the far corner and Vishal's in his gold vault upstairs laughing. We're going to be talking about some minerals today of a different sort through Azincourt Energy, a nifty little company, AAZ or AAZ on the Toronto Venture Exchange. They're based in Vancouver under Alex Klenman. And it just so happens that the fabulous Fabi actually did the write-up, the most recent one for us on Azincourt, and will start us off with some knowledge.
All right, so Azincourt Energy, I'm no stranger to Azincourt. They are what I like to call the typical lottery ticket in the mining world, right? Because they have a few of the ingredients that you really want if you want to hit it big, but also the likelihood that they're going to hit it big is, jury's still out on that. Yep. So they're in the Athabasca Basin. They're right next to all the big players, Pure Point, Next Gen, Fission, you name it, and they're close to those projects. However, they've spent a good amount of money, in East Preston, which is their main baby, I guess you could call it. And they've found, I guess, the structure where the really rich uranium should be at, but they haven't really been able to nail where it is, if it is at all in any of their properties. So when it comes to exploring in the Athabasca Basin, which is considered the best place in the world with the highest grades, highest concentration of, rich uranium in the world, what you're up against is basically cost. And in 2022, costs are going through the roof. And so it's a fine balance of, can the company find something of value? And if they hit it, they're likely to hit it big because the grades in the Athabasca Basin are usually very, very high. Yep. However, you have to be careful not to spend too much money in the trying to get there. And it's usually more towards the winter time when they can actually drill. You usually have to helicopter in and out of, certain areas. And it's a very high cost activity. However, if they do find something, then, we're talking massive gains. And so it's an interesting play, but do know that they will have to hit it big, and you're likely only going to get the results a few months from now, because they're going to go into one of their projects in the fall, and then they're going to put a lot of money into a winter program as well. So it's something to keep an eye out, because if they hit it, then everybody's going to want to pile in, but you got to watch the cash. And right now they have a good amount of cash. So fingers crossed.
All right. Now, if we go back in time a little bit, we talked about Azincourt maybe early midsummer. I think there might have been much more optimism about them potentially cashing that lottery ticket. Gaalen, you were part of that conversation. So has anything in your mind changed, or how much, if so?
Well, in a company like this, the optimism lies in the management and whether they're being transparent about what they're doing and whether they're actually doing something. Closeology and deposit possibilities or potential is also a big factor, but that sort of, well, I mean, it comes right along with it. But at this point, I'm basing my belief on somebody's word. As Fabi said, we're waiting for the results to come in for this. And realistically, those are the real catalysts that will propel this stock and this company forward. Because without a deposit, it's just another company. Now, that said, East Preston is in a highly prolific part of the Athabasca Basin. And the Athabasca Basin in and of itself has the highest high grade of uranium in North America, as far as I know, and, ranks right up there with any kind of world-class operation. Now, we need energy independence, and uranium is an important factor in that. It also will help drive our transition over to green energy, as it acts like the base power, so we can have the wind and the solar and tidal power. Even geothermal, to a certain extent, is a little fluctuating compared to what nuclear power is, or nuclear I can never say that right. I feel so embarrassed every time I say it. Every time it
The
provides.
second time was right. It's
I
my
get it?
favorite. It's my pet peeve. So
Isn't it though?
nuclear.
Okay, yeah, it's mine, but I heard it wrong for so long that whenever I say it, it feels like it's going in the back of my
It's
head.
okay. We'll just call you George W. Bush.
Oh, thank you. Much appreciated. So this is an important factor, and it's an important company if you're looking at a growth opportunity within this sector. However, being a growth opportunity, being in the early stage that it is, there's also a subsequent amount of risk attached to this. So you have to think carefully about what you're doing. You have to know what they're going at. You have to understand the sector and understand where they sit within it. This is something that can be accomplished by listening to experts. Fabi is one of them. Don't make your decisions based solely on what she says. However, do talk to an investment professional and figure out what your portfolio can accept in terms of risk and where you need to diversify to sort of cover that cost and what you can afford to lose, because this is really the consideration that you have to make. What can I put down that I can see go away and not want to kill myself? That's a big thing. So I like Azincourt. I like the management. I like where they're at. I like the possibility, but honestly, nothing will take this forward until we see the results coming in the next 6 months.
I tend to agree with you, and I like the fact you started a little disclaimer there, which we always mention because you do have to do your own research, folks. Besides George Bush, it was also Homer Simpson who used to say nuclear. It's
Exactly.
That's even better.
Yep.
Thank you.
And with that note, we'll go to a guy who won't mispronounce it like Homer Simpson, I don't think, because he has all that gold behind him. Vishal will give us his thoughts and transition right into the old Azincourt charts, which haven't been that pretty lately.
Not really, Rob, but if you're someone that's maybe looking for a bottom picker play, or if you're into like market structure like I am, then this is a play that could be interesting, just because we are literally, I think, just like 1 cent away or half a cent away from previous all-time lows, which printed at around like 3.5 to 4 cents there, and we're trading at 5 cents. And as you can see from the chart, we've just been going downwards since April of this year. We found some support in July of this year. That's when the press release came out a couple of months ago about the exploration plans for East Preston and Hatchet Lake, which, as Fabi and both Gaalen have mentioned, are coming up in fall and winter of this year. So it's been quiet since then. We've just been waiting for, and we're going to be probably waiting for quite a long time, until those results come in from the campaign. But the stock's just been bouncing here between about 4.5 cents and 8.5 cents here to the upside. If you are, a bottom picker, then it looks quite attractive here. Hey, it's quite low at 5 cents here. That the company has some cash. Catalysts are coming. Potentially could see a bounce from this level at these price points if the catalysts come out, positive with the drill results. I would say, if you're someone that's really, really bullish on uranium, I think obviously there's a lot more risk with these juniors, but with a chart like this and at this price point, maybe it's prudent to dribble a little bit in these juniors. Again, if you are very, very bullish in uranium prices and you do believe that uranium does break above this range here, that will also obviously impact a lot of the uranium juniors and uranium miners. But I do think that you should have, a bit more into more advanced plays, like such as, I don't know, Energy Fuels or Uranium Energy Corp, something like that, and have some of these smaller plays just for a little bit more upside potential. But the chart, is at a basing and at a support level. It will probably attract some bottom pickers, and it just requires that one catalyst to get it going.
Sorry, we shall see. Awaiting reports from Azincourt. And with that, it leaves us in a pondering moment. And we begin with Miss Fabi. You each have $7,500. I want to make this very clear that it's your $7,500 and I'm kind of loaning to you. So you can't just throw the cash away as if it means nothing, because that doesn't help the viewer. The idea is, what decision would you make with your $7,500? I'm just kind enough to give it to you.
Ah, you're
Fabi,
so generous.
I
I
am
want
generous.
I want a double portion for Christmas, right? Okay,
mythical
so
money.
I'm gonna want more for Christmas, but since it's still October, that will do. So if I want to follow a certain stock today, I would put 500 in so that I want to follow it because I'm already invested.
Yeah.
And once I like a story, I like to get involved quickly and then keep doing more research and keep following it. And then I would probably earmark another 1,500, but I would wait to deploy that 1,500 because what I see is that until they actually drill their projects and get the results, it's several months out, right?
Yeah.
And while they're doing that, they're going to have to deploy a lot of capital. So the actual worth of the company, in my mind, will come down. And there's a certain likelihood that the price might come down with it. Now, being smart marketers, as the management team is, they're going to have to spend a lot on promotion at some point because they're going to have to raise money eventually, because that's what you need to do when you're drilling your projects. And so I would wait until, it looks like they're starting to promote again heavily. And then I would start purchasing more shares with the earmarked 1,500, but I would start with 500. That's a really long way of saying 500 for now.
That was good.
Works for
because
me.
The promotion thing is sound also, because they were promoting with us for a while and they might be promoting with us again. And if they come around and we do that, then that might be a good sign for everyone. Gaalen, how much today?
Well, I'm of the same mind as Fabi, actually, at this point in time. It's a good story, and it's good location, good possibilities, good management as far as I'm concerned. They've been honest and straightforward every time that they've done something. They've made some hard decisions over the last little while that a lot of CEOs wouldn't have done. So I think that this company is serious about getting its, meeting its milestones in terms of getting those assay results back and exploring their property to the point where they actually can say, hey, we do or we don't. It would be lovely to say that they do. So I'm going to drop 500 now. And as Fabi also mentioned, there's tremendous amount of capital expenditures happening at this point in time. This is the money suck or money pit era or stage of any kind of exploration company. It's where they got to put the money in the ground. Yeah. So when they start doing that and they start getting the results, I'm sure that this stock will gain a fair amount of traction, because we're talking 4 cents a share. This is a share that will do all sorts of things based on just news flow. Like a good result coming back would be all sorts of good to what kind of investment you make. So yes, I dropped 500 in just to make sure that I'm invested enough that I want to keep track of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then yes, on the first sign of good news, I would probably drop something in, because I really do like the way this company goes. So yeah, geez, we're the same, Fabi. I'm going 515 if things go well. There you go.
I'm not even going to charge you royalties. What a deal.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Cut. Yes, a consultancy fee. Gold Vault, man. What are you doing?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a different approach. I'll take a technical analysis approach here. Obviously, I do like these sort of bottom picking plays, especially when the stock is bouncing and ranging quite near its all-time lows. And of course, it can continue lower, make new record all-time lows. And the stock could really just continue to range here until we get that catalyst from drilling, which again is starting in fall and winter of 2023, fall of 2022, winter of 2023, and the results could come, a couple of months after the drilling begins. So, knowing that there's a catalyst upcoming, the stock is quite cheap here at these levels. I think I'm going to throw in $1,000 here and play a bottom picking play here on Azincourt. And yeah, and if we do get a break above 5.5 cents here, that would be a technical breakout in this interim range, which might even see me deploy some more money. But right now, I think I'm going to play this basing here, put a 1K in here, and hopefully see this take out way down the road, perhaps 8.5 cents here, and confirm a nice double bottom W pattern here, but that will probably be for another investor roundtable down the road.
Very good. Nothing too controversial here. It's a pretty straightforward play. I mean, just kind of a, moderate conservative approach as things develop here with Azincourt.
Well, you told me the
Energy.
money's mine, so I'm a cheap bastard. That's the way it's got to roll.
Well, that's part of it. Azincourt Energy is AAZ or AAZ on the Toronto Venture Exchange. As I mentioned, Alex Klenman in Vancouver, and they're awaiting results, and so are we. We can't guarantee those results. We also can't guarantee anything that we've told you, so please do your homework and your own research. Get some help if you need to. Past performance does not guarantee future results as well. That's it for Azincourt. For the man in the gold vault, that would be Vishal. For the man in the basement who's making brownies, that would be Gaalen. And for Fabi, who's drinking wine in Portugal, good for you. I'm Roberto, and we will see you on the very next Equity Guru Investor Around the World Roundtable.
Bye.